All right, this is your boy Mike. One Dread is in the house, and we're here with Queen Samiya and Sir Arthur. We got Brother A on the line. Anthony is in the house also, and we're here today. And I guess we'll start it out and branch out a little bit, but just we're gonna start and just say self-sufficiency. You know, in each of the areas that we all feel comfortable with, and me, self-sufficiency to me, my first thought is growing your own food to sustain yourself and your family. Knowing how to grow your own food to sustain yourself and your family, and medicine also. But basically, getting out there and loving the dirt a little bit, playing in the dirt, playing in the sun. You have to gain an understanding, of your planting and the biology of the soil and all of that. Seems a bunch to it, but most of the time you just take it, put it in the dirt, and let it do what it do.
Put me in, coach. I'm not in love with dirt, but if it's going to be beneficial to my health, then I think I can take that journey.
Oh yeah, and it's a wonderful journey. It's not the journey itself; it's what you become along the journey. It's who you become along the journey, and that's one of the great things. A lot of people find out a lot about themselves when you start to indulge into areas that you may not have felt comfortable with. A lot of time growth and success is on the other side of challenge and trials and tribulations.
I agree with that.
Growth is and is on the other side of that. So getting involved into things that you may have not have been comfortable with, learning how to grow your own food, learning how to store your own food, learning what is food outside of what you purchase in a store. Very, very important. We're all pretty much at an age that we grew up, maybe our grandmothers, used something out the yard for medicine and,
absolutely,
old home time cures and things. Well, that was golden knowledge right there that has been lost, especially in our community, a lot along the way. And getting back to that is very, very, very important. And that's a great part of my mission, and being self-sufficient, ties in with the world right now, more important, greatly than ever.
I agree with that. I think we're spoiled as a nation, because there are so many things that are available to us that the idea of being self-sufficient is almost non-existent, because there's so many things that are accessible to us that we don't feel the need to be self-sufficient, because there's always somebody there to take care of those things. There's Uber, there's Instacart, there's Amazon, there's all these things that make the conveniences of life come to us so quickly that the idea of having to go and do something for ourselves almost seems at this point ridiculous.
Right.
But I love that, we're at a place now where we really have to go back to that, because I think that part of what helps us to evolve is going back to the basics, because we changed so many things that we know actually worked back in the day that now we feel like we have to change everything, even the things that were working. So
Right.
hopefully we'll understand the importance of, the basics and why they're necessary, and that everything our parents taught us or our grandparents wasn't all bad. Even though some of it can't be applied to this day and time, a lot of it is still relevant and necessary.
Yes.
I think in self-sufficiency, in investing from that standpoint, I think it's the basis and the foundation needs to be how to manage your money, how not to live beyond your means. Spending money on stuff you just don't need is kind of the key. I know for somebody that has a handicap like me, where you have problem with your visibility, what I do on my iPhone, I blow all the fonts up to be the largest they can be. So if you see my phone, all the letters are giant. And what I do also, I put all my credit cards, all my bills, I put their name, and what I do, I dial it. And when I call to pay a bill, it already remembers your checking account. So that helps me be self-sufficient and not having to rely on others take care of my finances. That's the main thought.
Now, when you talk about self-sufficient, I'm just thinking about one thing. When you say you plant a seed in the ground, so I take a seed, I plant it. It has everything it needs. It has the soil. It has rainwater that's going to come when it's needed. It has sunlight that's going to come every day. It has every warmth, everything it needs to produce a harvest. But the problem is not the self-sufficient part of it, which most of us miss. It's the distractions that come along with being self-sufficient. As great as that seed is, there's going to be weeds. And how do you be self-sufficient and also get rid of all the outside noise, get rid of all the distractions that cause the failure? I have a business. It's going great. Me and my wife, we're having a beautiful relationship. Our business is going great. Our investment going great. And then Sally's over here whispering in my ear, why don't you come over to my house? Because weeds are they don't come there with the game plan to come in there and you notice them be cut out. Because some weeds will look just exactly like the plant for a while and confuse you. And I think you should, when we talk about self-sufficient, we should also look at being self-sufficient and at the same time understanding that when you at that point, that there's going to be distractions always there to try to destroy your work. And working with those in hand, how do you manage and cope with those in hand to get the success you need in life, whether it's marriage, family, business, and investments? Because there's always a distraction somewhere out there when you're building what you're trying to build.
Hey, yeah, that's that thing called life.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a natural thing. Everything, the success or the failure of everything that you involve yourself in, all is regulated by one thing: discipline.
Absolutely right.
The discipline that you apply to it or don't apply to it determines the success or failure of anything. Knowledge, a correct knowledge. You can't have a piece of the knowledge. You know, you can't know how much water a plant needs, and you know all the water needs, but you don't know any other soil needs, or you don't know any other lighting needs. You can know all the lighting and soil needs, but if you don't know how to water it, you know what I mean? So gaining a correct knowledge in anything requires a discipline to that. Now, we can all multitask. You spread yourself around, you know, that's life. You learn that you have to learn to multitask, you know, walk and chew gum at the same time. But yeah, like you said, applying a discipline to anything will depend on its success.
And I think that's why in the Bible, the farmers talked about, that's the most disciplined profession on this earth. You literally plant a seed and there's nothing, you can do minor things to keep the field nice, but you're still in a wait mode. And you have to have faith that seed is going to do what it's going to do versus any other business. You really have to be a very disciplined person. I think that's one of the things God wants you to see, that in anything in the Bible or anything you do in life, discipline has to be very important to you achieving the goals that you want to achieve, the goals you want to achieve.
But I think that comes with growth and maturity. And so sometimes we are our own worst enemy because we are in a microwavable world. So everybody wants everything quick. But we all learn differently. Some are visual learners, some are audible learners. And so part of that knowledge is recognizing the way that you learn. A lot of our lessons are repeated because we haven't learned them. So, you know, you can go around the mountain as many times as you want to until you learn the lesson. That's just how gracious and merciful God is. He will allow you to keep repeating the lesson until you actually get it. But the beauty is when you understand that you can enjoy the journey even when you're not really sure how it's going to come out. It may not be successful the first time when you plant that seed, but you're going to gain more and more knowledge the more you involve yourself. That is the beauty of growth and maturity. So the best thing for you to do is recognize that the process is going to happen anyway. You choose to decide whether you grow and mature from it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But who you surround yourself with, what you choose to indulge yourself in, will help you decide how successful or how quickly that growth and maturity can happen. So what you choose to listen to, what you choose to watch, what you choose to eat, what you choose to internalize in your spirit, all of those things are going to manifest different things. So as you grow and mature, you recognize there's certain things that you can't do anymore because they don't align with what you believe is important for that growth and maturity to happen. So you're going to change relationships with people. You're going to change a relationship with your family, with your spouse, with your friends, with your work colleagues, everything. And if you don't, then the way that you grow and mature will be stagnated, and you can make the decision that you want to stay in the same place. There are plenty of people doing that. So the beauty in life is that you have the choice. You can choose to stay where you are, or you can choose to go forward. And those distractions are always going to be there, but you have to learn how to live unconditionally. The conditions are there. You're not in control of those. You're only in control of yourself. And if you don't grow and mature, you're not even in control of yourself. And a lot of people don't know that either. So the beauty is you have the ability to make the decision about how you want life to be. Other people are not in control of your life. You're in control of your own life. And when you gain the knowledge and the understanding of all the seeds, all of the knowledge, all the wisdom that you need is internal and not external, then you won't put that pressure on other people to try to make sure that you get everything you need. You will seek it and it will seek you, and then you kind of meet up.
Mm-hmm.
And then that thing will come together so beautifully. You'll be thankful for the experience and not look at it like a victim or, why does this always happen to me? Or why didn't I get this thing? Or why didn't that relationship work?
And that's that thing. Everyone looks to external stimulus.
Absolutely.
I didn't get the job because they don't like me. And I couldn't get the loan because, the system is pit against me, or, I could just, any of that, the external.
Right.
When you focus more on the outside, then you're missing what's on the inside. And what's on the inside should be the greatest focus to grow. This whole world is made up of individuals. The individuals make a collective. In order for the collective to be strong, then it's beneficial to have a strong individual. So you have to focus on yourself and be a better individual so that when you do interject into anything you do, you can bring a little more knowledge, a little more wisdom, a little more love and light, because you are a better individual. Now that you can participate and make the collective better. That's should be a common goal, or, an underlying goal that everyone always, says, I want to be a help. I want to be a benefit, Okay, the greatest benefit you can be to me is if you get your stuff together.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Get your stuff together. And we're all in that position where we all need a little bit more getting ourselves together. And like he said, the journey, and you can look at it as a harsh and cruel world and a journey that you're partaking in, or you can look at it as a beautiful and awakening walk that you're taking, a nice casual stroll through this wonderful life we've been given, to growth. Your perception
Goes back to perception and perspective.
It does.
So, with being self-sufficient, I'm going to ask a question. So can you be self-sufficient without wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? So if I have everything in place, am I still self-sufficient, or I've just got a bunch of things in front of me?
You got a bunch of things.
You got a bunch of things in front of you.
Yeah, the tools are there. We're all born those spirit beings. And you being enlightened and awakened to the truth of who that is a growth process. all the tools can be right there. If I have a flat tire and I have the jack and I have the lug nuts off and everything else, and I have the new tire sitting right there, but I have no idea how to put those components together to change the tire, then I still have a flat tire. So life works much the same. You can't be self-sufficient until you make a decision that you even want to be that. A
Right.
lot of people don't want to be self-sufficient. A lot of people want to be dependent because it's easier.
Their idea of being self-sufficient is putting themselves in a better position to get what's being handed out.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Entitlement.
that's people's idea of being self-sufficient. I need to work to put myself in a better position to get what they're handing out. Not I need to work and build for everything that I may need. Or everything that, my family may need. The generations, everyone is talking about generational wealth right now. Generational wealth should be acquired first by releasing the mental chains, getting rid of all of these negative perceptions that we have of ourself and our people and our character and our health. Because honestly, take COVID, for example. That's just the hottest topic. When you continue to think of it in the mindset of a pandemic,
right,
you have to go to think of what is pandemic, and look up the word pandemic. And when you find that definition, then you have to go and measure what we're going through right now as a measure to what's been considered and called a pandemic before. And then you look at it in that new perspective that you have a little more knowledge of what this is, what that is, the components that builds up for a perception. You know what I mean?
True.
So
very true.
There's a lot of things that we believe right now. Soul food. Soul food isn't soul food at all.
No,
The
it's
food,
not.
the foods that we eat has nothing to do with the
Building our
benefit
soul.
and upliftment of our souls. The foods we eat is killing us. So our perception, we have to first release those mental chains and believe in a correct manner to get a correct knowledge and go forth then. But that's the hardest thing, letting go of something you believed all your life, even though somebody can show you that it's wrong.
I'm going to say something. And this is something I can say about this group here. We're talking about this and we talking as if this is just wake up and we do this. We're speaking here. These are easy tasks. I know on this panel, all four of us, I can make a phone call at 4:00 in the morning to either one of y'all. And if you don't pick up, then within a few minutes, you're going to be picking up the phone call because you've already started your day before everyone else got up. And this is to you, Anthony. And we're talking about self-sufficient. I have $100,000. I have a brokerage account. And I wake up at 10:30 and I'm going to trade stock every day. What's the chances of me being successful? What's the chances that I'm going to be successful, but I have everything that it takes and I have a work ethic like that?
Probably 0 to none. I know with me not being able to, I guess, open a book and read it like most people can read, what I do, I wake up because I'm prior military, so I wake up early anyway by nature. And I pull YouTube up for all you vision impaired people that say you can't do this, that, and the other. I pull YouTube up on any topic that I want to learn about, whether it be the Bible, no matter what. And I tell Siri to pull such and such up on YouTube. And I just sit there and listen. As long as I got the ability to listen and hear, I can learn. So when I plant seeds, when it comes to being self-reliant on yourself, I tell people, if I teach you this, how to invest, I'm not charging you for this information because God's going to bless me. But what I want you to do, the only requirement you have is to make sure you pass that knowledge on to somebody else. That's all you got to do. And so, in that form of planting seeds, he might or she might not do what I told her. All I know is I did what I had to do.
Okay. And what about you, Mr. Mike? I got a beautiful yard. I have a lot of stuff growing up in it. So after this, I can just go take my fork, knife, and some hot sauce and just start making dinner. It's just that simple.
For a lot of things, it really is just that simple. And
so you guarantee me that tomorrow I won't eat something and end up dead if I don't know anything about what I'm eating?
no, definitely not. No, you can't say that. If you don't know something about what you're eating, yeah, there's a lot of things out there, the wrong thing that you can eat that'll do you in a bad way, you know. But gaining that knowledge to be self-sufficient is fairly easy, you know. It's just astragalus, you know, plankton, curly dock, dandelion, wood sorrel, ragweed, nettle. All of these herbs is things that's growing in, I'd say, about 80 to 90% of people's yards. All of these things are completely edible to sustain you. You can make a meal out of them and actually sustain you. But you have to get the knowledge of these things, and they're right there in your own yard. That's what we need. To be self-sufficient, you have to understand the world that you're living in and the world that you're living on. You have to understand what's right out there within your reach, because when there is no more drugstores and grocery stores and things of that nature, which could be a very real reality when you have politicians playing, you know, with everyone's lives and all of these weapons of mass destruction. You know, the earthquake that just hit Haiti, sending everything into chaos, you know, mass destruction again on this little island, turns life around in a second. So you have to be self-sufficient enough to handle situations like that in the world you're living in. And I mean, that's a reality today. You know, you could very well turn around tomorrow and they shut down all the stores like they've done before.
Yes, they have.
Shut down all the restaurants. What are you going to do if you don't have enough food stored up in your cabinets? You know, what if something goes wrong with the water? And now everybody's water has to be cut off. What if something goes wrong with the energy and everybody's lights has to be cut off? You have no electricity. The food that you got stored in your deep freezers is about to thaw out and spoil. What are you going to do? You're going to go out in your yard. You're going to go to your local parks. You know, you're going to try and find what it is to sustain you, whether it be wild fruit trees or grass or roots or plants. Being self-sufficient goes a lot deeper, you know, and it's a lot more simple. That's the knowledge that I'd like to try and, you know, get out to people, is how simple it is and how necessary it is. Because the world that we're living in, everyone else controls this comfortable fate of ours, because we're all real comfortable right now.
I think the beauty of self-sufficiency, though, that we sometimes miss is that even if we're self-sufficient, we still have to be interdependent. So you're not going to live this life self-sufficient and you don't need anyone.
No.
That's not realistic.
No.
You know, now the level that you depend on somebody else is what makes the difference. You know, there has to be a healthy balance there. There are parts that you have to play, and then there are parts that other people have to play. Now, if someone else decides not to do their part, then you make up for that. And you ask for guidance. You get direction on maybe interacting with someone else that may be beneficial in that area. But those
Community.
pursuits have to be there because a lot of times we're waiting for people to come to us instead of us going out and seeking that knowledge and information, because knowledge is everywhere. It's in everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't make the decision to be self-sufficient and say, I would like some of that, I would like to know about that. That's
Indeed.
important to me. That's healthy for me. What you know about that, I can gain a better perspective from. What, Mike knows that I don't know will help me. And what information I know that I share with Arthur will help him. But if everybody makes the decision that they're only going to be in their little cube or their little box, and nobody wants to venture out and connect with each other in a healthy way, then we are destroyed for our own lack of knowledge about the importance of community and how much we need to come together. So our families taught us that.
Mm-hmm.
Community was always necessary
Indeed.
in the African American way of doing things. And so us interacting with other cultures is part of the reason why we are not as strong as we need to be. And we do learn healthy things by being interactive, but we also need to learn the beauty of connecting with our own and understanding who we are when we come together collectively.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that when I say getting back to the basics, it's that part.
Oh, yeah.
We need to come back together so we can understand the power of what we have right within our own communities. We believe we have to go to other people to learn things that we already know. We are creators. We are intelligent. We are the people that make things flow and happen. And that is an internal power that we have not truly tapped into. There are some geniuses walking around that don't even know that they're geniuses because they're being brainwashed by the world to believe that that knowledge isn't already there, that it has to be taught to them by somebody else.
And being put in situations that don't challenge you
Absolutely.
to bring forth the greatness that everyone possesses. I think it was Les Brown I heard say, and he got the quote from someone else, but it says one of the richest places on earth
is the cemetery. That's right.
From all the great ideas and things that people died with and never had a chance to bring forth to the world. When you grab and are able to recognize your one thing, that's that thing that pulls you.
Right.
That's that thing that compels you to want to be better as an individual and be more self-sufficient. But in greater turn, that's what makes us want to deliver what we know. This is a good thing.
Right.
Makes you feel good. It does good for your mind. So it makes us want to get out there and give this knowledge. And that's how I get excited about the things that I do. That's how people get excited about the things that they do. That wanting for the community, the wanting to grow the community. That natural wanting to grow. That's why you want to get the information out there. That's why you want to tell people and uplift them with the knowledge, because it builds that community sense that we really, really need right now.
We so do.
Yeah, we need right now.
Anthony, I know you can speak to that more than anybody because you're definitely in a position where being self-sufficient makes all the sense. So talk about that.
Well, it was years ago, but not too long ago, we were the original Wall Street when we had our own high schools, own drugstores. We did everything. When we were very, very wealthy back then. And every time we did that, you had the other side that wanted to disturb that, or we felt like we had to integrate. And I know that's a hot topic right there.
Oh, yes, sir.
But I felt like we started going down right around the 70s when they stopped having classes where they taught you how to weld, be a brick mason. When they took all of that out of the school, we were headed down. At one time you could come out of high school and had a welder's license, or you were ready to be a brick mason. Now these schools don't teach anything to our students. We really need to go back to where it used to be, where we taught our own kids how to be respectful, how to wear a shirt and tie, We did all those things. And then we start integrating, be like the world. I think that's our downfall.
And you can tie all of that and the demise of values and everything. You can tie all of that in with the introduction of more chemicals into the food, the introduction of artificial intelligence that built a separation between people, a very, very big wedge between people with the growth of technology. A lot of that with the loss of community, you can directly correlate it and line it up with a lot of different factors that built this perfect mess that we find ourselves sitting in right now. But the one thing, since the beginning of time, they've never been able to suppress us. When we want to speak on just being a black people, through all we have endured, we still stand today the strongest entities walking the earth, period. Gods and goddesses.
Absolutely.
You know, through the mental sufferation, through the physical abuse, you know, through the generational oppression, and we still stand as the baddest mojos walking right now. When they took people out of Africa, they didn't take slaves out of Africa. They took scientists and doctors and architects and mathematicians, geniuses. They took Rasta out of Africa. The concept of righteousness, that's what they came and collected. That's why we endure right now. That sense of community that we are missing came with the interjection of everything else in this system that was built to destroy us. The food, the politics, the policies, the this and that, they all correlate the same. They all, you know, you can line them all up one by one like bricks to build the foundation of this perfect mess we're sitting in right now.
Yeah, we're in a mess.
Well, we thank you all for joining us today. It's been a beautiful experience. I think we've gained a lot of perspective on a lot of things that we are in agreement with and what we need to do in order to bring us back to a place where we are progressive and going forward. So we hope that you'll join us again for more information. Have a great day.
Thank you.
One love.